Welcome back. Ramya and I are back with you with a special guest today. So make sure you stick around to the end and you'll find out who the special guest is and what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get started. Hello and welcome, Ben and Ramya.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Ben, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all that good stuff?
Well, as you mentioned, my name is Ben, and I currently work at a blind school in Brantford, Ontario. On top of that, I'm actually in grad school for my Master's of Social Work. So I've been in the social work field for, I would say, almost like around 10 years. So I graduated from my BSW and my SSW, and now I'm going for my MSW as well. I am an individual, of course, who lives with visual impairment. So I actually live with the eye condition of retinitis pigmentosa, which is a progressive eye condition, which I was diagnosed at only 2 years old. So it gradually has been getting worse and affecting my night vision as well as my peripheral vision. And right now, it's affecting a little bit of my central vision. So I am, I do have that. So I like to say I am an advocate for those with vision loss. I am part of a lot of advocacy groups as well as ambassadorship groups. So very excited about that going into the future.
I've known you for a few years, so there's a ton of stuff that Ben does in the community and around the blind low vision community, as well as when we're having like social justice conversations and things like that. So the reason why we brought you in today, Ben, it's because it's a special time for the world during COVID-19, and we wanted to talk to you specifically about vaccinations because you recently got vaccinated. First of all, I feel like I have to say congratulations. I don't know, it just feels like a thing. Um, so, want to kind of walk down the journey of you getting vaccinated, if you're cool to do that. And we can start with before the vaccine itself, because there's a lot of us who are still having conversations about, would you get vaccinated? I don't know, would you? And which one? And oh my gosh, did you hear the latest on AstraZeneca? So Sarah and I, full disclosure, have not gotten vaccinated yet. None of the people in my family have either. So I'm curious, what did you feel like before getting vaccinated?
It was so many thoughts that ran through my head, positive and negative towards the vaccination. So at first, I thought, okay, it's a vaccine. Why not? Why don't we take it? This is gonna help. But then I heard the negatives about certain vaccines. So that was kind of like scary to think about, to know that, oh, like this could be happening to you, and the fact that it was so fast to be tested. So initially I was kind of half and half about how I felt about it. Obviously they let you know, your workplace lets you know when you're going to get the vaccine, and it wasn't much word about it. So I almost felt like it wasn't something I had to think about right now. It was something I had to think about in the future. And the more the vaccine is out and the more people are taking it, it felt that I would be more comfortable about the vaccine. So it was definitely interesting. So I would almost say I was almost like on the fence. One day I'd be on this side and one day I'd be on the other.
It wasn't just like a easy for sure, I'm definitely getting vaccinated.
They sent out email. In 2 days we were supposed to book our vaccination. I was like, oh, like, do I really want to get it? And then I started talking to some coworkers, and they were letting me know that they were going to the vaccination clinic. So I was like, okay, I have to make a decision now. How am I going to get there? I could easily Uber it there, but it would be so much of a trek, and you don't know how it would take to your body after. So I was like, okay, I have literally 1 to 2 day or one day to make the decision about whether I should get vaccinated or whether I should not. So I, lucky enough, took the decision that no, I will go. I will get a ride from a coworker.
It's like quite interesting how, you kind of had to make that decision kind of like on the spot-ish, it sort of sounds like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like because you were thinking about it, yes, no, yes, no. I think like a lot of us were. Could you tell us how it was for you to get the vaccine?
Going through the process, it wasn't as bad as it's portrayed to be. Because I know before getting vaccinated, I was talking to a lot of my colleagues, and they're mentioning, like, what if this happens? And some individuals had allergies, and it was this talk on, like, what would happen after you get the vaccine? And hearing, oh, for other people, people are tired, people are out of business for a week. So all that talk around it, I remember going that day, obviously with a little bit of nerves. You're thinking like, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna be this big process? But as I mentioned, I went with some coworkers of mine, and even the nurses and the staff that tended to you were very, very nice. They're very awesome. I seeked out help from my coworkers to go through the lineups. So the fact that traveling and being mobile in the area, it was quite easy because I had those resources.
Especially when you're not super sure, like even making the decision to actually get vaccinated is one part of it, but then you go there and you're like, oh my gosh, and anything can set you off and say, I knew I shouldn't have, whether that be like the after effects or pains or other things that we're hearing, some scary things. But the experience itself, for people who've had a positive experience, it clearly makes a difference on how you're feeling about the whole decision overall.
I totally feel you on that statement where it was just another layer of stress removed,
Hmm.
knowing that you're able to navigate through that environment.
Did it make a difference, any specifics on your vision, or the accessibility or accommodations regarding your vision?
I am used to going through clinics and going through medical offices on my own. I could advocate for myself, right? I could
Hmm.
advocate for seeking help. It was very nice to kind of get that transportation as well as help navigating through the setting and not seeking staff's help. But I still feel for those who are low vision or blind who want to go get the vaccine, I feel as long as you are a person who can advocate for yourself and can speak for yourself, it I don't see it as a bad process. I feel
Yep.
like they will be there to accommodate.
Sounds like you really prepped yourself, like your situation going into it, saying, okay, these are the things that I'll probably stress over or will make me uncomfortable. So let's just deal with that from beforehand.
Touched on a good point there, Ben, like in general, just like prepping yourself when it comes to like this very, I guess, busy situation.
Just having the coworkers or in some cases friends or family to go with you, it's kind of cool to kind of kick back and kick your feet up and be like, yo, I'm just gonna go through this, kind of watch my back, and obviously they're okay with it too. So it's sometimes nice to have that resource as well.
As people with disability, we have a lot of, or we feel anxious or going into certain situations or any type of new situation that we've not been in. If anyone hasn't checked out our latest video on social settings with a disability, be sure to check it out. I'll pop it up here on the right left hand corner. And I think it's very important that like you kind of mentioned that you have resources, but you are also very confident to like advocate for yourself if you had to end up going alone.
I'm sure you're aware of and have been a part of like not having people around all the time, right? So that feels like a bonus that so many of us haven't even had the opportunity to experience, to be around others in scary and vulnerable situations like being at hospitals. So that's a huge point, that just being with somebody else and having that support system there for you when we're hearing about so many people who don't have that is a huge blessing. So thanks for touching on that. Now post vaccination, how do you feel physically and otherwise? I know that there's like that social divide of people who have been vaccinated and people who haven't. So how's it feeling?
Going into it, we everybody had these misconceptions like how much of an impact would it have on my body? And that's the question that I feel like a lot of people ask themselves because it could be different from the next person compared to yourself. I had the shot, and with myself is like I get blood drawn as part of physicals every year just to check up on maintenance of my body. So I would even compare it the sting of the needle less than getting your blood drawn. Was talking to the nurse and she was like, "Okay, get ready," and then pop, she did it, and honestly, I did not feel much. So from there, they asked you to wait 15 minutes, and I was sitting there. I was like, I'm waiting. So when's this gonna kind of happen? When's it gonna kick in? I remember going home and just kind of waiting for it to kick in. And I was like, though my arm's not that heavy, I don't feel too bad about it. So the next day, I I woke up. I was ready for fatigue and exhaustion. I felt a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of a sore arm. It's almost like if someone walked up and punched you in the arm and you kind of like rub it and it's a little sore. And it was actually a point where I was thinking just to kind of prove like, this is not that bad. I was even thinking to do a workout, like an arm workout, but I was like, no, maybe I shouldn't take it too far. I got it on Saturday. I was a little bit tired on Sunday, went to work on Monday. So I felt just fine. I feel comfortable with telling people that I did get the vaccine, and I feel very comfortable with sharing my experiences. Although there are some people at my workplace who did feel the effects, but at the same time, I feel like just sharing that experience is very important, sharing everybody's experiences about it and how it does affect their bodies.
I personally don't know anybody that got it except for you, and you, Ben, like, and you're in the younger category, because normally everyone that was getting it, that was like over 55 or over 60 plus. So, I was very curious, just wanting to know like what your experience was like as a younger person. Everyone's body, everyone has a different experience to the vaccine, right?
You know what? Even like just saying that makes me feel very privileged that my work provided me the opportunity to get the vaccines. Kind of jump back to what Ramya was mentioning about being in like a medical facility on your own and the effects that would be and that nervousness that you would feel with this situation. I felt that it was it was almost a perfect situation because not only did I go with my coworkers, so it was almost like you saw familiar faces where it's just like, oh, this is almost like a reunion. I feel that that really helped to just kind of look around and be like, oh, who's here? Oh, that person's here. Oh, they're getting it too, and have that discussion and all be there together to go through that experience.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and I've been picturing it that way in my head, like when I dream of post-COVID, it's like oh man, like everybody just reuniting again. But until you said it that way, I was like, yeah, that's the click that I'm waiting for. This whole like everyone around you just hugging each other and crying of joy because we're all just over the hump. Oh my gosh. Ben,
Mhm.
before we go, first of all, thank you for coming on. I just wanted to shout it out because this is a really crucial conversation for anyone who's out there thinking, what is it like to be vaccinated, especially in the community? So before we go, what would you say to others? Anyone who's hesitant, and you don't have to say yay or nay to the vaccine, but for anyone who's kind of hesitated out there, do you have a stance on people's choice to get vaccinated? I guess to put it that way.
If you have the opportunity to take your time with the decision, take your time with the decision. No matter like how you feel, there's always going to be different opinions. There's always going to be different levels of comfort, but definitely take your time and research it. Research it. Like even what this podcast is doing right now, just watch things and see how other people's reaction. My perspective, yes, I feel like it was a good idea. I'm not feeling the effects, and I'm going to go get the second part of it in July 10th for the second booster. But like we all said, that's my perspective. Do your research. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And that's definitely, I feel like, advice that I hope could help people who are contemplating in getting the vaccine.
It's really important that everyone does their own research and you know what their comfort level is in getting this vaccine. Thank you, Ben, so much for taking your time out and coming and talking about your journey and your experience with getting the COVID vaccine. It was so much fun talking to you. If you haven't watched my latest video, be sure to check that out. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time I drop a video. Till next time.